What is up, everybody? It's your boy Church Price, and I'm here again with an actual video this time, okay? And it's gonna be one that I haven't made in a very, very long time. Series that I used to do when I used to go to the movies every day called Shitty Movie Reviews. It's not good, it's wet outside. But as you can see, I'm currently outside. You can hear the birds, you can hear the cars probably, but I'm hoping you can hear me over them all because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. Well, not today, just at this current moment. Now, I haven't sat down and made an actual thing like this in a while, so hopefully this was not going to be as shitty, but we're going to try to get right into it. All these damn birds are going to piss me off. Honestly, I like the sounds of nature. If you can't deal with this, you're a pussy. So, what movie am I going to be shittily talking about the plot to today, you may ask? Well, it's a little funny film that came out a couple years ago called The Book of Clarence. Now, The Book of Clarence, I saw it in a trailer, and I didn't think the movie was going to be what it was. So, the actual movie is labeled as like a comedy film, sort of. It's like a biblical comedy, but the actual trailer for the film just sort of makes it seem like it's like just a regular old biblical film about a black Jesus or a guy trying to become Jesus who happens to be African American. That is not at all what the movie is about. It is exactly what the movie is about, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that. The trailers don't really do it justice, and I'm going... No! The wind took my camera away. And I'm going to explain why that is. So, the Book of Clarence starts off with, obviously, Clarence. Now, I want to point out a couple things real quick. If you're not a biblical person, don't watch this film. What the fuck are you even going to see it for anyway? I'm actually kidding. Actually, it's just a legitimately good film, but it gets, near the end, it's like all biblical stuff, like references, names, like the actual Last Supper, a crucifixion, and... Oh, I'm spoiling! Oh no, spoilers! Been out for the... What was I fucking even saying? So if you're not really like a religious person, it's not really gonna like matter to you a lot of the stuff that's going on. The beginning, I'd say the first half would still be pretty good, but the second half is probably gonna be where you're not gonna want to pay attention anymore. You're gonna go and scroll on TikTok and start watching, I don't know, like a new trend going on. Like they're gonna bring snorting condoms back, maybe. Who knows? The point of this film, in reality, is more than just the Jesus reference. It's about personality more. Like it's more about like who you are as a person and why what you do matters to other people. If you want to get down to really like the big thick of it, it's really, I don't really know how to explain it right now without explaining the entire movie first. So I don't know why I'm going in. I think I'm just gonna go for the movie first and explain later, because then once I get the movie out, my thoughts will come back later on, because I had so much, but I always do this thing where I go to record the video and I forget everything. I literally just watched the movie with my mom and my brother, and I've fucking forgotten the plot, I think. So that's why these are called shitty movie reviews and not just movie reviews, because I have a forgetful brain. The film starts off with Clarence. No, before you ask, by the way, I am not going to go through every little bit of the movie, every little scene, just the important things that I can remember, alright? I'm not going to hit every beat, but there will be spoilers for the Book of Clarence if you haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't, I highly suggest you go watch it. And if you are still watching this far, I will try to make the movie entertaining, so please continue to watch, and hopefully I can make you laugh, and that's my only goal right now. So, let's do this thing. Now, speaking of that, the movie's also one and only goal for, I'd say, the first hour was to make you laugh. Because we start off pretty simple. It's a fucking horse race. Well, actually, we don't start off with that. We start off with a scene of a crucifixion. There is, I think, 20 men on crosses just hanging there. So you know it's not the Jesus one, because Jesus was just him and his two followers. I forget their actual names. I think one was Peter. No. I'm not even going to attempt it because I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But, yeah, it was, so you know it's not Jesus's one. Maybe it was Peter. Was it Peter? I think it was Peter. Peter, did you die on the cross, Peter? So we start off with that. The first shot of the crucifixion, which I'm going to spoil for right now, is also the end of the movie. So the movie is split into three parts. There's the first part, which is something. There is the second part, which is the Messiah, I think is what it was called. And then there's the third part, the crucifixion. The first part I think is just called the Book of Clarence, actually, because it's the name of the movie, and it's like starts with Clarence. But weirdly enough, everyone in the movie calls him Clance, or something weird like that. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't just say Clarence. That's never really explained, but it is an important plot point because he will go up to certain people and be like, man, like he goes to his mom and he's like, Mom, you're the only one that uses 2 syllables for my name. And this girl that he likes, Lorenia, and he'll say it to them, but everyone else just calls him Clarence. And he's just okay with it. And he like never backs out of it or tries to fight them on it at all. He just complains about it to the people who don't do it to him, but never says anything to the people who do. So that makes no sense. But his name is Clarence. He's in the middle of a fucking horse race with who other than Mary fucking Magdalene. Now, you might have just heard me say that. And he's also, in his race, he has Elijah with him. And again, you might have just heard me say that, and you have completely thrown this movie out, because there's no possible way Mary Magdalene, the prostitute from the Bible, who kisses Jesus' feet, she doesn't kiss his feet, pushes his hair, it doesn't matter, I'm making a joke. You wouldn't think she'd be in a fucking horse race with a guy named Clarence, a completely made-up character from the Bible, and Elijah, a person who's actually in the Bible as well. You wouldn't think that. However, I want to point something out. The movie is a comedy. It does take creative liberties with these names and these stories from the Bible. However, from what I gathered when I was watching it, it never took it out of control. It never went blasphemous. People say it does. I see a lot of people on the Rotten Tomatoes bullshit calling this movie blasphemous. I don't see at all where it was. I guess because technically Jesus wasn't the protagonist in a story basically about Jesus, but it wasn't really about Jesus. It's about a guy pretending to be Jesus because he doesn't want to be a nobody anymore. He wants to protect his family and get his brother's respect back, and it's just more than that. So I think them calling it blasphemous means they just saw the movie trailer like I did and thought it was just like a spinoff of like the Bible, like the Passion of the Christ sort of is what it gave the vibe of, I guess, in a way. Even though it really didn't, it kind of cemented itself as a comedy because it has the dude from Haunted Mansion in it, and that was like a breakout role for him. He was really good in that movie. He's actually just really good at a lot of the roles he plays. And I can never remember actors' names, so I'm sorry if I have to use like references to what I know them from. I mean, I guess I could pause it and look them up, but then I have to keep cutting the video and editing it out, and I don't. I mean, I guess I could. So his name is Lakeith Stanfield, and he's the one who's playing Clarence. He also was the main dude in Haunted Mansion. I don't know if you guys saw the Disney thing, Haunted Mansion. It was a it was an okay movie, but he was the biggest part of that movie that made it great. And just like in this movie, he's also the biggest part that makes it great. Not only because he is playing this man who you can totally relate to in certain aspects, it does get a bit out of control near the end of it, I guess, maybe not, but you can sort of relate to him more. And it's not only that, he plays not only one character, he plays 2 characters, and they're both twin brothers, so he gets to play his own brother. So that's pretty fucking cool. And the 2 people are very different, and he plays them very different, and you can tell they're different, and it's very well done. So fuck you. I saw your fucking comment on Rotten Tomatoes, wherever you were, okay? Fuck you for saying that. He was good. It was great. It's fantastic. Even the people who are giving shitty reviews are saying that Stanfield just did an amazing job doing this role. It's a perfect role. He fit it amazingly. Now, what was I talking about? I don't remember. More of like a genuine interpretation, I'd say. Like, it's like the guy that wrote the movie read the Bible. I was looking into it a little bit while I was watching, just I wanted to see like if he was kind of being blasphemous or not. But he really wasn't. Like, a lot of the stuff that they do does happen. Like, in the actual Bible, he took scriptures from the Bible and fucking put it in the movie, like, verbatim. Maybe with a little bit of, like, creative writing into it, but he still did them. Like, I'm putting one up. Mary Magdalene. The scene with Mary Magdalene. So after looking it up, I realized the movie takes a lot of creative liberties with this one. So Mary Magdalene's scene is, so remember, she's on the horses, but we're going to skip past the horses. We're going to go in the middle of the movie. We're moving on. You want to listen to the horse thing, just skip ahead. Go that way. Jesus. Okay, so Mary Magdalene's scene, she's getting stoned because they think she's a prostitute. Well, she is a prostitute. They say that she slept with the Romans. So there's a group of people, and they are throwing, wah, wah. They have Mary Magdalene, like, chained up to a wall. Well, Elijah hears her screaming, and he runs over to her, which doesn't happen in the Bible at all. I will say that. It doesn't happen. But, again, for the movie, it's a great scene, because Elijah also has a lot of character development. He's like a homeboy for the decades, bro. He is literally a ride or die. Elijah in this movie is, like, the best friend, brother, companion you could ever fucking ask for. He's like, always there with Clarence when Clarence is up to some shit. And he's always smoking too, so it's baller as fuck. Elijah is running to Mary's aid, and as he runs to Mary's aid, he like wraps his arms around her and he says, "What happened?" And the crowd yells, "She's a whore. She slept with the Romans." Now, as they'd say this, Mary yells lies, which I don't think is true because she was a prostitute, whatever, but so she yells lies. As she yells lies, they start to throw more stones, but Elijah covers her with his body so he gets the stones to hit him. Now, I want to point out, he never gets hurt by anything at all. They call Barabbas the immortal in this movie. No, it's fucking Elijah, because he gets fucking smacked with a rock, dead in the tomb, no mark. He get hit in the rock with backs all the time. He's running back up to Clarence 5 minutes later, like out of breath, like with nothing, no injury whatsoever, dude. He got shot with a trank dart and like didn't get tranked. It was wild. Elijah is immortal, not Barabbas. So he's getting hit with the stones, and as he's getting hit with the stones, Jesus walks up to him, and he's like, "Bro, stop that shit, fam, and drop that shit, fam." So once they do that, Jesus walks up to the crowd and he says the line, I'm gonna be Jesus. "Dear Father, forgive me for I'm about to sin. And what be this woman's crime?"
He wed with the Roma.
"You count this as a sin?"
Yes, yes.
"Then let he who is without sin cast the first stone." And that's how it fucking plays out. He says the line, "Cast the first stone," and guess what happens? None of them do, because he rips his hood off and they see it's Jesus and they're like, oh my god, we just pissed off Jesus. Back to the beginning now. So if you're here, that means you skip the Mary Magdalene part that I just described and my epic reenactment of being Jesus. So fuck you. They're racing. They're going at it. And then all of a sudden, boom, they're in gypsy territory. You don't know who gypsies are? I'm not going to explain what a gypsy is because I don't feel like looking that up. I can't get off the top of my brain. I just know they're old culture, old people. They like to do crazy, weird shit. They're with nature and they think magic is real. They go into gypsy territory. Well, as they go into gypsy territory, they're racing, blah, blah. The gypsies shoot these little, like, trank darts at them. And fucking Clarence gets whopped, bro. Bro falls off the carriage, completely out of the game. But Elijah's still there, and they gotta win this race. You don't know why at the time, but they need the money apparently. And Mary's like running these streets. Mary's like a drag racer with these horses, bro. She's straight too fast, too furious. That's not the right one. The one with the Tokyo Drift. Every time I get a movie reference wrong, I die a little inside. But she's straight dogging on the motherfucker. But Elijah's still in the cart. He got hit by a trank dump, but he's still in the cart. So he gets up, sees the reins, and as the motherfucker see the rain, this is literally my boy. This is literally my boy. He looks over to the left. There's a gypsy swinging a rock like motherfucker. The guy hit Goliath. He was like, wah, 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 whoosh, and Elijah just go. He is dead. He is gone. But there's no mark on his forehead. He just like gets up. He's just like, what the fuck? And then he crashes. The carriage breaks. The horses run away, and Mary wins, and she gets money. And later on, it's actually a nice scene because she gets the money. And when they catch up with her later on, and they talking shit or whatever, she's handing the silver out to like peasants and like people around them, which if you look at that scene, it's kind of cool because Clarence is at this point a man who won't do that. He had the option to, okay, I have to explain. The beggar, I hate the one part of this movie I fucking hate. There's this beggar at the beginning of the movie that Clarence and Elijah almost hit because he's asking for coins, and they're like, no, just run over him. He's fucking Benjamin. No one gives a shit about Benjamin. Which I fucking now realize his name was Benjamin. He's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh, I see what they did there. But I'll get to him fucking later because that was his thing. Is I fucking hate what they do with Mr. Cumberbatch, you know? Don't like it. So they almost run over the beggar when he's asking for coins or whatever. They don't give a fuck about him. So clearly Clarence and Elijah are people who are out for themselves. They don't want money. They're just criminals. They're just low-life scum. They're just goofy little goobers trying to make it in Jerusalem in fucking 34 AD, you know? They're not up to anything super nefarious. But I really just like the scene because like Mary is sharing her wealth. Because she's already wealthy. She wins these races all the time probably. She's sharing it. She's giving it out to the people. But if Clarence would have won, he wouldn't have done anything with the money except use it for himself, for selfish reasons. Which is very good for his character at the moment because he didn't win the race, so he doesn't get the money, which means he has to go and take a step up a notch. And the reason he has to take a step up is because the money that he was supposed to be winning was actually supposed to go It'll come to me. See, the money that they were going to get was actually supposed to be paid back to Asher the Torturer, who is like the big crime boss of Jerusalem at the moment. You know, everyone knows who he is, and he's got connections everywhere. And he owns a strip club, or the biblical version of a strip club. They do call it a whorehouse or harem or something. There's just a lot of women. Like, the women aren't nude or anything. It's just like kind of implied. It's not even that big of a plot point. But so Asher the Terrible lended him the money, the horses, and the carriage. Well, now Clarence lost the money, the horses, and the carriage. So what's he gotta do? He's gotta go beg for forgiveness, right? This is a Bible film. They gotta go get forgiveness. He's gotta pray to God. No, he's gotta go to Asher the Terrible. Because Clarence, by the way, I guess I haven't spoiled this part, Clarence does not believe in God. Clarence believes that Jesus is a fake and that all the miracles are just illusions and they're messing everything up and no one should believe in him, and he doesn't believe in any of it because he has no actual proof yet. They go to see Asher the Terrible, and it goes pretty fucking terrible. So they basically just get told, before I do that, I want to point out, this is why I said Elijah's like a ride or die homeboy, because Elijah's telling Clarence, he's like, bro, you gotta go tell Asher about this shit, man. You're screwed. And Clarence is like, no, we're screwed. And Elijah, he doesn't fight back. He's just like, we're screwed. Like, you can tell he's always getting him into this bullshit. Like, Clarence is always fucking around with Elijah, alright? But Elijah goes. He goes with him, and even when he goes with him, he like defends him in front of Asher, and he tries to protect him. He's like, I'll always be with you. He even does this thing when Clarence first meets his brother Thomas. So Thomas is also played by Stanfield. So when he meets his brother Thomas, Thomas is one of the apostles of Jesus, and Jesus is coming to town. This is right after they lost the race to Mary, and they're like in the little town square. So Jesus is coming to town, and you know, he's making a big parade out of it, and all his apostles are walking with him, and Thomas, who is Clarence's brother, happens to be one of them. And Clarence and his brother have a bad history. We don't really know about it yet, but they'll explain soon enough. So he goes with Thomas, and he's like, yo, Thomas, peace be unto you. Thomas ignores him, does it again. And then this is kind of where the entire movie hits its mark, where it's like, this is the reason why he's going to do what he's doing. Because Thomas, his own brother, flesh and blood, looks him in the eyes and just tells him, you're nothing. You're nobody. You're a fucking thief, a coward, a loser who doesn't believe in God. You don't believe in faith. You don't have nothing. You suck. You're a fucking loser, bro. Fuck you. And, you know, this kind of hurts Clarence a bit, because he's like, bro, like, you left with our mom was on our deathbed and shit. Like, why am I the loser? Honor thy father, honor thy mother. Why the fuck you had to go be an apostle for Jesus when my mom was dying? Now, I had a theory about that. My mom said that that's one of the things that she saw that was just inaccurate information. And my mom's not a movie person, so her pointing that out is kind of extreme. They said that his mom was on her deathbed, and then they said that Thomas went off to go be with Jesus. So what I thought happened was, because the mom is still in the movie, what I thought happened was Thomas made a deal or something, or Jesus healed his mom, and then Thomas just devoted himself to Jesus the entire time because Jesus proved that he like believed in him, and maybe Thomas was having second thoughts, maybe he wasn't fully with it, and then that happened, and then he was, and that's why his mom's fine and Clarence is with his mom, but Thomas is with Jesus. That never happens. Even though it sounds like a really good plot point for the movie, and it sounds like it would really flow well with it, that doesn't happen. It's not fucking all. Just wait till you hear about Benjamin. It really sort of hits the entire mark of the movie. Thomas tells Clarence he's a nobody, and Clarence takes that to heart, because he does feel like a no one. He feels like his life is just going downhill. He wants a purpose. He wants to get his mom out the gutter. He wants to do all these things for his friends. He wants him and his family alone to move up. He doesn't care about anyone else. He wants him and his family to move up. You know, and he wanted Thomas to be there with him, but Thomas betrayed him, so they move on. So all that was right before they went to Asher, the thing with Thomas and everything. But then they go to Asher, they meet the driver, and I want to put this out. Driver is Caleb Longlin, I think is how you pronounce his last name, from Stranger Things, which is really cool to see it came in from him, because he looks way older now. Like, he's like as tall as the other adults, and I remember him being like a little pipsqueak in Stranger Things. So it's kind of fucking badass. He's rocking the beard that they give him in this movie, too. I gotta say, he's probably one of the sexiest motherfuckers in this movie. But then they drive to Asher. They go to Asher's thing. They have like a talk. They have communion, whatever. And Asher's like, bro, I know you don't believe. Because apparently Asher believes, but he's also labeled as Asher the Torturer. So don't know how that works. Asher tells him, look, man, I gave you 30 days. You now have 29 days, 22 hours to get my fucking money back, or you're getting crucified. I'll fucking crucify you myself. I'll put you on that goddamn cross, you motherfucker. Get my goddamn money back. So, Clarence needs to make some motherfucking money. They don't know how to make no money. So you know what they do? And this is when I say the movie becomes a stoner comedy. Because throughout this entire thing, the movie has never really taken itself seriously. It's been really fucking goofy, sort of, and then you get to the plot with Asher and the brother, and you're like, oh, so there's some semblance of like emotional stuff in this movie. But then we get to this part. They go to what I can only call a smoke hub in Jerusalem. There's like, people are smoking out of hookahs, and they're blowing things. Me and my stepdad, before he left for work, were looking at it, and I noticed something. And he said it out loud, so I knew I wasn't crazy. Someone was fucking floating, and I don't mean like, well, I guess you know exactly what I mean. I mean, they were like flying in the air. Like, they were just hovering here, right? And then the guy comes up to Elijah and Clarence while they're sitting at the smoke hub. Like, they're sitting in front of a hookah just talking about what just happened with Asher and how to get the money. And the guy flies down to them. He like, yo, what's up, guys? Why aren't you flying around, bro? You gotta fly. Toke this shit. So Elijah tokes it, and he's just fucking floating. And I'm like, is this in their head? Are they actually, because the people were floating before they even took the hit. They were just floating in the scene in general. They were literally just flying around like little balloons or something, like almost deflated balloons. That's how high they were. They're like in the air, but they weren't going up. They were just kind of like hovering there. Dude, it was fucking weird. Are they seeing that in real life? Like, is Clarence seeing them fly, or is this all in his head? And this doesn't happen just once. This is like 3 separate times in the movie, only 2 I can actually remember, when something like this happens, where like, it looks like it's real, because the characters are acting to it in real time, but it's like so weird, and they act like it's so normal. And my whole thing is, if you see these people fucking flying around from toking a hookah, why don't you believe Jesus is doing what Jesus is doing? These people are flying. And it gets even worse when Clarence takes a hit after getting persuaded to. He fucking tokes that shit up, and then he flies too. And then a fucking light bulb pops on his head. And the best part is Elijah can fucking see it. He's like, I'm not getting angry. I'm just passionate about explaining this scene. It was really funny. Elijah can just fucking see it on his head. He's just like, yo, I think you got an idea. And then his idea is, what is his idea at first? I don't think his idea is to become the Messiah. Oh, the first chapter is called the 13th Apostle, and this is why. So his big idea after he tokes up real quick, which I find it so funny, the way the plot moves forward is they had to get high first for him to have this idea to start moving the other plot points forward. It's such a stoner comedy moment. It's like, why was that needed? They didn't need to go smoke to do this. They could have just like had a conversation, and then Elijah could be like, yeah, maybe if you became the 13th apostle or something, we could get protection, because those guys are all protected by him. And then Clarence is like, oh, bro, you're a fucking genius. That would have made more sense. But no, they just go to a fucking hookah club and start flying around like chickens in Minecraft and shit. But that fucking epic plot out of the way. So he goes to become the 13th apostle, and you know, it doesn't go too well. Judas is there, and when I saw Judas, fucking who's on? Do you know what Judas did? You know what Judas did. But I saw Judas there, and Judas is like, you want to become the fucking apostle? You can't just become an apostle, especially when you don't believe in God, you fucking idiot. Like, why do you think we make you one of us? Thomas is in the corner, just sitting there like, yeah, you're still nobody, you're still a prick, I still don't fucking love you, blah, 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 whatever, this, that, and the third. And then Judas has a great idea. He said, you know what someone would do to become an apostle? You seem to be selfish. You know what someone would do in your situation? They would walk over to that slaver guy over there. Okay, so after further analysis before I make this next point, I think I may have gotten Asher the Torturer and Jebediah the Terrible mixed up. I think Jebediah the Terrible is the mob boss, and Asher the Torturer is the slave owner. We're just gonna keep going with that from now on, and hope that that it's right. I think I just got their names mixed up. They both have really long names that have terrible or torture at the end of it. Who cares? Judas is like, you know what someone would do if they're not fucking selfish like you are? They would go to Asher the Torturer, who, like I said, is now the slaver guy and not the mob boss, who is Jebediah. So you'll go that guy, and you'll free all the slaves. Someone could do it. You'll die, for sure, but that means, I mean, if you're willing to die to do that, then that'll prove it. So, Clarence, being the absolute badass that he is, brings Elijah along with him to go and free these slaves from this person. Now we're gonna get into something again that I really disliked about the movie a little bit here, but we'll get there when we get there. So he goes there and he's all like, "Hey man, I'm here on behalf of Jesus, and I think he would like it if you release your slaves for free." And Asher's like, "Are you fucking? You know how much money that would fucking cost me? Do you have enough to pay for that? Like, are you gonna give me like, penance for this or whatever?" And Claire's like, "Nah, dude, just do it for free. Peace. Don't you feel guilty harboring all these slaves and making them do things like this?" Which, to be fair, he can easily get his ass kicked. Not Clarence, Asher. The motherfucker is so stupid. He's training these slaves to be warriors, and like, they easily could just fight back against him, but they just don't for some reason. It's never explained why. I don't fucking know, but they don't. He's just training them. He's like, "Hey, you wanna alright, you want me to free these slaves? Watch this, bitch. Hey, all you fuckers, if you beat these two with your bare hands, I'll let you go free." And everyone just drops their weapons right away. Then Asher is like, nah. Actually, I got a better plan. If you, sir, you alone, can beat my best fighter, Barabbas. I think it's Barabbas. My best fighter, Barabbas, I'll let him go free, and you can take that guy. But I warn you, Barabbas is immortal. He's never lost a fight. And they keep him in a fucking cage under the ground in the arena already. So this motherfucker better be busting with muscles. He's not. He looks pretty scrawny for how they kind of like describe him. I was thinking more of like the Rock-esque type person. He's more of like a Captain America sort of guy. Not even that. Captain America had more muscles than him. I don't even know to describe him. He just wasn't what I was expecting. He just looks like a normal dude. But that's kind of the point. So him and Barabbas get into a fight. And honestly, Clarence kind of holds his own here pretty fucking well, which I didn't expect at first against Barabbas. But Barabbas is just taking hits. He's like clocking him 3 times in the face, like broke his wrist or whatever. Barabbas breaks his fucking sword by lifting him up. And fucking Clarence just does this. It's really goofy. The whole fight's really goofy. But then Clarence like grabs his rope. And he's like whacking him with the rope like smack, 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 smack. Like, how did you know how to perfectly use that? You just picked it up. We're gonna skip the fight because I'm not gonna describe how the fight goes because that's just gonna be boring from my perspective when I just told you the cool things. He gets hit with a rope, a sword breaks and he flies backwards, and Clarence wins eventually. And this is how. It's actually pretty clever. The ending is the best part about this fight. So Barabbas has got Clarence on the fucking ground, and he's about to throw a fucking rope on top of him so he can't move and then stab him in the fucking gut, right? Well, Clarence looks up at the sky, and I'm actually just realizing this is symbolism. Clarence looks up at the sky. What he sees in the sky is the bright sun. What he then does is he takes his broken sword and he shines the light of the sun into Barabbas' eyes, which then this blinds him, giving Clarence a chance to roll out of the way of the rope and then get behind Barabbas and fucking put the blade up to his neck and say he wins, thus granting Barabbas' freedom. And then Barabbas fucking treats him like a king, and he's like his protector for the entire movie. He's a badass character too. They basically make him Achilles, where his only weakness is his heel. Everything else around him, he's immortal, just literally like Achilles, which I didn't really get the change there, because Barabbas in the actual like lore, I guess is what you call the Bible right now, was the thief that they chose to save instead of Jesus. God damn it. But Clarence isn't done when he wins the fight, by the way. He looks at Asher. He's like, no, I don't fucking want him. I came here to free all the slaves. Which is the beginning of his arc, in my opinion. And that sunlight will come back up later. Man, I feel like Wendigo when I do that. Kind of cool. I hope I remember to bring it up later. Now we have Barabbas, Clarence, Elijah, and I forget the driver's name, but they're all traveling together. They're like the 4 main group, except the driver. He's like on and off, the guy, but all the 3 of them versus Mark. And what we know about Barabbas right now is he hates the fucking Romans, he wants to kill all the goddamn Romans, and he is religious. He believes in God, and he tries to get that towards Clarence. So this part is where I'm a little bit hazy with the details until after this. But, so they get back to the apostles, and they showcase to Judas that he saved the slave. He saved the best one, like the immortal one, the one of legend. And Judas is like, yeah, that's cool. Still can't fucking be one of us, because you're still a prick, or whatever. And then he goes to see his brother, and his brother basically tells you the same thing. He's like, you can't do this, man. Like, you just don't believe. Like, you're an idiot. Clarence spits some fucking hard facts at Thomas. This is when he fucking goes, look, bro, you left our mom. The Bible says, honor thy father, honor thy mother too. I may not believe in God, but you do. And what you did is fucked up. It's kind of right, to be honest. Because at the end of the thing, Thomas even agrees that he left. So there really was no reason for him to just dip out on his mom like that, except he was traveling with Jesus. And after this, Clarence has this is the first part where I realized a lot of the speeches were really gonna hit. So Clarence, I don't remember the exact wording of it, but he basically goes up to him and he does something like this. Knowledge is power. Belief is nothing. You just believe in what you can't see. But I have knowledge. I know what's real. I hope that came across as dramatic as it did in the movie, but that's basically what he says. So, after he does that, he leaves again and he's on his little carriage. He's still gotta find a way to make money, because the whole reason to join the apostles is to get Jebediah to stop crucifying him, but now he can't do that because the apostles don't fucking want his ass because he's a gimp. Maybe he shouldn't be selling licking weed. Then they're going home and they're just on their cart, they're yipping around. Then Clarence gets another idea. This is where the sun turns into a light bulb. Now, that also will come back up again later. And then the light bulb, he kicks up his head again like he did when he was high, and he's like, I got a fucking better plan. I'm gonna become the new fucking Messiah. I'm gonna be Jesus. I can do what he did. Faking miracles, getting people to believe me, conning them with my speeches. I want to be fair, this is not what I believe Jesus did. This is what people who don't believe in Jesus believe what Jesus did. Okay, I don't support that theory, but this is what the movie is saying. I'm just saying this for the movie, I'm not saying this. Okay, so he does. He fucking does it. He starts doing this trick with Elijah, who, again, #1 fucking homeboy, always there with him. They do the blind trick where he fucking puts his hand on his face. He's like, Elijah, open your eyes. And Elijah gets up. He's like, oh, I can see everything. He's like Logan Paul during the colorblind video. He was like, I can see the color blue. Starts giving out speeches. He's like, be who you want to be. Believe, man. I can't remember the speeches, but he's just doing the whole rigmarole of people giving him money and stuff. And this is when this movie starts to take a turn from the comedy aspect into the realistic aspect, in my opinion. What happens next is Elijah comes up to him with a sack full of cash. Now, before this happened, Thomas had walked up to his brother, who had been doing the Messiah thing for a little bit now. It was in a montage for him. And he talks to his brother. He says, you can't do this. You're not the Messiah. You are giving these people false hope. You don't actually believe in what you're saying, but they believe in it. And doing that to them is horrible. I'm not even just talking about blasphemy. This is just horrible to do to human beings. And Clarence sort of treats him like a dickhead. He basically does what Thomas did to him in the first place. Thomas is like, peace be unto you, and he ignores him, and then he says it again, and then he just goes, now leave. So he says all this stuff, and then Clarence, big bald move, just goes, I'm about to perform one more miracle. Make this motherfucker vanish and get the fuck out of here. But, however, I really do think Thomas's words ring true into Clarence's ears, because as Elijah brings him this bag, and he says, look, we have enough to pay off the debt. We're good to go. Clarence looks at the money, and he does something that his character, to this point, it doesn't make sense for him to do, unless you look at the aspects that I'm going to talk about later, and I think it actually makes more sense why his quick turn was so quick. He goes back to Asher the torturer, and he gives him the money, the entire sack of cash, which is more than enough to free all the slaves, and he frees all of them. And then Elijah comes up to him and he says, we're gonna die. You're gonna die now. Jebediah is going to crucify us. And I might still be mixing their names up, but just one of them's the mob boss, one of them's the torturer guy. When I'm talking about the slavers, it's torture. When I'm talking about anything else, that's the mob boss. Like, we're gonna die. And Clarence just says, it's alright, man. I helped these people. I may be dead, but 20 more will live. And you start to see that maybe he isn't such a selfish little prick. Maybe he does have a care for people. He just needed a push in that direction. And that push, ironically, was him pretending to be Jesus. Him pretending to become Jesus, to be the Messiah, to do these miracles, to give these people hope, to have these people look up to him. gave him this sense of security that he needs to look out for these people now. He's no longer doing this for himself or his friends. He's doing this for everyone following him. And it's not like it is a switch of the hat, like a little snap of the finger sort of moment type thing, but it makes a lot of sense with his character, because if you think, his mom was very important to him. One of his main character points in the film is he wants to get him and his mom out the gutter. He wants them to move on. He wants them a better life for them, where they're not sleeping with rats and his mom can hear him jerk off in his bedroom or something. They don't want that. He doesn't want that for his mom. So you see that he has compassion for people he cares about, but now you see that he has compassion for people who he's never even seen before, who he's never met before, who are just following him. And it all took that turn of him trying to become Jesus. And I think that's a very beautiful message in a way. It's when you try to be the savior of the people in a selfish way, sometimes you become the savior of the people. And the end of this movie is a very good representation of what happens to those who try to save the world. Now, enough of that depressing stuff that makes no sense right now. Let's get back into the film. Where did I leave off? He's like, no, I don't care if I die. 20 more of these people will live. And it really starts to hit right there that, he's just moving on. And then, I haven't talked about Verenia, because honestly, the whole love plotline doesn't really hit its mark until the ending part of it, where they had this really good scene in the jail that I really want to talk about. I really just want to show it, but I can't, because I don't know how to clip things. So I'm gonna do my best to spoof it, or whatever. But they had this really weird scene where their eyes change colors, and it makes no sense. She's like, "You're the sapphire in my eyes, you're the ruby in my eyes," and they both change color. It never happens. And it happened once more. But it's another one of those things that just happen, and it makes no sense if it's in his head or not, or whatever. But he goes and he talks to Verenia. Verenia is actually Jebediah's sister. Well, Clarence loves Verenia. Everyone knows Clarence loves Verenia, including Jebediah. So Jebediah is against it, though, because Clarence doesn't believe in God and he doesn't do all this stuff. Well, Verenia's whole thing with him was he also doesn't believe, and he has no purpose in life. His head is in the clouds. He's not going for any goal. He has no real goal. He hasn't grown up. Well, he goes back to her and he says, "I'll grow up right now. Look what I've done. Look what I've done to these people. Look at all this stuff. I'm a changed man. I'm a different man. I'm a better man." And he is. He's not lying when he says that. He's a better man than he was at the beginning of the movie at this point. He's way better than he was. So she tells him the same thing that Thomas was telling him. Like, no, it's wrong for you to do with these people. You don't believe in what you believe. You don't even believe in what you're saying. So how is it right for you to make them believe in it? And it really hits him. He's like, I mean, I guess you're right, but, it's whatever. These people, I'm just doing what he's doing. Talking about Jesus. He's like, I'm just doing what he's doing. And if people want to look up to me, they can look up to me. And a lot of this stuff is more nuanced than how I'm portraying it, but if I can't remember it, I'm just going to briefly explain it. The stuff that I really wanted to touch on is stuff I'm like longly explaining, so and now I'm explaining myself. So this whole rigmarole happens. He sees these two guards. They chase him. It's Goliath and the one dude, and he hides in a chicken coop. By the way, this is chapter 2, which is called The Messiah. This is the whole part of chapter 2. And then the plot sort of just picks up pretty quickly after this moment. It just starts to move forward kind of fast, but also in a slow way. The Romans get involved. Jebediah is there with his crew, and Clarence is getting hounded down by both groups or whatever. And it all happens really quick. You don't really get to see the Romans a lot. It's mostly just Clarence dealing with the issues with Jebediah and Verenia and making the Messiah thing happen. But then the Romans do come in. Obviously, the Romans are pretty important to the story in the Bible. I don't know if you know this. The story of Jesus Christ dying. It's pretty important. The Romans were there. They were a big part of it. The Romans are now on the lookout for the Messiahs, because now that Clarence has made a name for himself and everyone thinks he actually is one of them, they're going around telling people that he's the Messiah, and they can't have that. The Roman people want the people to look up to them as their gods. They don't want people to look up into the sky for a god. They want to look at a piece of armor and a sword and be like, that's my man. I trust that guy. But no one wants to do that because they're taking over Jerusalem and the people, and they're very bad leaders. So they want to look for these messiahs who are bringing about what they call the revolution, which is dope, by the way. Then I found out that Jesus is also technically a revolutionist by causing people to fight back against the Romans. And I love revolution, and I love Jesus. Clarence is at a party, by the way, and this is another weird... Oh no! Oh boy, I gotta talk about another funny scene. I get do a little dance. I'm gonna do a little dance. I'm gonna do a little dance for you. What I can only describe as the Footloose moment, or honestly the Barbie moment. You know in Barbie movie where Ken and the other Ken just start dancing toward each other? This is exactly what happens. So Clarence, the night he sees Verinia, invites her to a club. It's not a club, it's like a old club. And she does show up, looking pretty spiffy. I got a lot, I like a little afro head, a little headband she got going on. It's pretty dope as fuck. And then they go into the club. And they just start dancing towards each other to music they can actually hear out loud. But the thing is, the music isn't coming from instruments. You can tell it's like made by a mixer. It's not actual instruments making the music, and they never show where it's coming from. So what I can only assume is somehow these guys got like a radio or something, like a stereo, and they're just like making music back in 34 AD for some reason. It's never fucking explained. A lot of these goofy parts of the movie aren't explained, but it's kind of thrown off because it is technically a comedy, so it is trying to be funny, and it is funny. So, but I'm gonna go look up the dance. I want to see if I can do the dance. Now, could I have just played the clip from the movie a little bit so you could have seen what I was talking about? Yeah, I totally could have. Or could I have just done an interpretive dance for no reason in my backyard, embarrassing myself in front of all my neighbors? I could have also done that too, and that's what I chose to do. I hope you want to realize I was listening to the song. I don't know if I'm going to the audio in because it might be copyrighted, and I kind of don't want this to get claimed, even though it's not making any money anyway. But I don't even know. I was watching the video in the little corner while I was recording. That's why I looked so serious the whole time. And I tried to do just the men moves, but I forgot it switched from the men to the women. So I had to do the women moves too. So I actually had to record it twice. I had to do the women moves too, because if I did, I just sat there for a minute like this, like stone face, like waiting for the guy to go like that. I was like, I gotta do the women's move too. Did you see my ass? That thing was fucking working it.
Yeah.
I'm a genius. Where was I even at? Alright, so they do the little dance thing, and then after the little dance, after, you know the thing when I started like going around in a circle? So I'm supposed to have a woman with me when I'm doing that, but I don't have a woman. They don't exist. After that, they kiss. So Verinia gets scared, and then she runs out the door. When she runs out the door, my boy Jebediah is over there, and you know Jebediah, my boy Jebediah over there, and he's over there with his sister, and then Clarence, Elijah, everybody else think she sets you up, my man. She ain't care about you. She wants you to die. And Clarence starts thinking that way too, because that's how it looks. But she's like, I didn't even know they were coming. Which, fair. I don't know why they just automatically assumed she's at fault for it when Jebediah has already told them that he wants to kill them. Because they don't have his money, so they're coming up to take his money. As they come to take his money, though, my boy Barabbas steps up. He's like, he does this whole thing in the movie, which I thought was kind of cool. He's like, those who die, do it for the salute, or something along those lines. Again, I can't remember the specific quotes unless I can bring them out right now, but I've been recording out here for like 30 minutes, so I'm kind of getting boofed, and my feet are getting cold, and it's wet, and it's grimy, and I want to go inside and take a nap. Yeah, but Barabbas does the whole salute thing, and then he runs over, he takes the two big guys on, for that are gonna get after Clarence. He's like holding him, like giving him like fucking noogies and shit. And then Clarence is like, you're pretty even right there, when Jebediah is like, yo, yeah, you see you're gonna die now. But then it all comes to a head when the motherfucking Romans, I don't know their names, but the guys that killed Jesus, the motherfucking Roman come up, right? And they're like, we're looking for this here Messiah, because we can't have none of those here Messiahs around here messing with all my shit. Oh, hey, motherfucker. So we gonna need you to come with us so we can kill you. And Barabbas is just furious at this point. He's like, no, motherfucker, you're not taking my king. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill all the Romans. Fuck the Romans. And then Clarence is like, yo, take a step back. Chill out. It's all right. And then Elijah comes up. He's like, yo, Elijah, fucking chill, bro. It's all good. And then Barabbas is like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm dying for my mans. And he runs up, but Clarence is like, no, motherfucker, just run. Get the fuck out of here! He's not even running that fast. It's like a slight jog. Motherfucker running like this, bro. But then the Roman guy gets a great idea.
Alright, I'm gonna fucking start throwing spears at him.
And I gotta say, this little twink is not throwing these heavy ass spears with such accuracy the way he fucking was. It is impossible for me to believe that he actually hit his mark on every single fucking spear that he threw. He throws 3 of them. The first one, Barabbas' back. Fucking right through him. The second one, right in his fucking heel. So you know he's probably gonna fucking die. When I saw that shit, I was like, no! Come on, man! I love Barabbas. The third one goes right above the second one. And then Barabbas is just like, because he kept moving after the first 2. And then the Roman guy was like, see? Took down your fucking little big bitch boy, didn't I? Alright, go get my fucking spears, nerd. And it's just probably my favorite scene in the movie. I'm gonna just recreate. Think of this as a spear, and think that there's an invisible man in red Roman armor right in front of me. Wrong. Heel, bitch. Oh, I am immortal. So yeah, Barabbas just pulls some whack ass shit, picks the Roman guy up by his goddamn neck and slams him into his spear that's sticking out of his chest. Which is one of the most baller ways I've ever seen someone kill anybody in a movie so far. I know it's been done before, but the way this is shot is fucking fantastic. It's such a long, drawn out thing too, like the running away and the chase scene. It's way too long in my opinion, but it's so long and drawn out, it's like really suspenseful, and everyone's looking back like, damn, we really just saw these Romans execute a motherfucker for like no reason. I guess he was like fighting back, and he did say he was gonna like kill all of them, but still, it was like no fucking reason that they decided to throw 3 spears at Barabbas like that. Like, my boy did nothing really wrong. He was just trying to stand up for his mans who you were taking away over false pretenses just to get closer to Jesus. Like, fuck off, nerd. Then he runs off. He breaks the spear in his leg and he runs the fuck off, and we don't see him again till near the end. He plays no more big part in this movie whatsoever. He was my favorite character by far. I really did like his character. I thought it was very great. Him sticking up for Clarence the whole time it's such a good showcase to me, because it shows that Clarence doing the nice thing gets people on his side, just like without money, without gain. He just protects him because he wants to, because he feels honorable to him, and I just really like that. Barabbas escapes, and then everyone starts fighting, and then at this point, after Jebediah sees Barabbas take one for the team like that and run away, he could have like changes his mind. He's like, you cannot take this, man. I won't let you, because you are weak. See, the only people who try to trample over others, try to take over people's control, are those who have weak wills. You're a weak man, you stupid little bitch. Hard as fuck. The straight in the Roman like general's fucking face in front of all these boys. Be like, you won't take this Messiah. He may be a bad dude, he's got a good heart. There's a good soul in there somewhere. Same thing I think that Mary and Joseph said to him. He does, by the way, Clarence does go see Mary and Joseph. I'm going to put this out there. He does go visit Mary and Joseph, you know, Jesus' parents, and he literally straight up tells them, like, to their face, he's like, no, I don't believe in God. You can stop lying to me. I know your son's not doing these illusions. There's no way you were a virgin. She fucking slaps him. And then they both call him stupid. Like, Mary is like, the light in his head is not so dim. And then Joseph is like, if you were a tool in my carpenter thing, you wouldn't be the sharpest. It's such a... So you didn't need to go that hard on him, bro. Like, come on. He also tries to get baptized in order to get away from Jebediah debt, but that doesn't work because the guy baptizing him is the guy that baptized Jesus. I think his name was Joseph. And Joseph is like, bro, I know you're fucking like that. Fuck ass out of here. He smacks him. Dude, like, fuck ass out of here, boy. And then tries to drown him. And then Elijah almost throws hands with him because Elijah's like, no. I think you wash his sins away. And Joseph's like, no. He's got more. He's like holding him under the water. And Elijah's like, you want to fucking throw down? And he's like, you want to get slapped? And Elijah just like throws his cigarette or like his thing in the water. And he's like, yeah, I'll fucking throw down. He gives a fucking fight like a preacher or something. Two funny moments I did forget to mention, but they really have no big significant importance. Back to what Jebediah did. After Jebediah says this to the people, the guy goes, all right, fair point. I may be weak. What if I kill your sister? He just takes his knife. He's like, if I just decapitate her right now. And I'm watching this scene, and I'm like, there are more of you than there are of them. yes, they may have swords, and yes, they may have, like, weapons and, like, training and shit, but you definitely can beat them. You're in a close quarters match, you're all, like, right next to each other, you have, like, 8 big men on your team. You can totally take these fools. They are nothing to you right now. But Clarence being Clarence, he tells them all, no, let it go. I will go with them. Because as of this moment, he has gone from being the most selfish person to being the most selfless person other than the Messiah himself. He just wants everyone's protection. He's willing to give up himself so everyone else stays safe, especially the people he cares about, like Verinia, who was about to get decapitated, apparently. Clarence gets brought up to the Roman general, who's played expertly by the guy who played Professor X. He's played by that guy. Played by the man who played Professor X. And the man who played Professor X is up there on the Roman council, and he's like, look, I was told to kill all you messiahs. You guys keep running around, making everybody hate us, making everybody think we're the bad guys. We just want to rule you all. There is no God. There is only Rome. That's basically what he says. And then he's like, look, are you the Messiah or not? And Clarence, being Clarence, not wanting to die and wanting to take, wanting to be up front with everything he did, he straight up tells him, no, I fucking lied. I'm not Jesus. I'm not the Messiah. I made it all up. It was all fake. It was not real. I just wanted to be something. I just wanted to prove that I could be something to my brother. I wasn't a nobody, and I wanted to get with the woman that I loved. And the emperor, or whatever he is, asks him, did you get with the woman you loved? And Clarence, he says no, because when he kissed Verinia, she ran away. So he didn't get the girl that he loved. She ran from him. Like I said, the best part of that relationship comes at the end, with what they do to each other in the jail cell. So he's like, nope, I didn't get the girl, but it was worth it. I helped people. I did things. But I'm not the Messiah. I'm not him. I'm not your guy. I'm not the man's. And then people in the crowd are yelling like, no, liar. He is the Messiah. Yes, he is. He is. And the Roman emperor is like, you fucking assholes. He's straight up telling you that he's not. And you got all these fucking fools back there believing that you are. What's wrong with you? And he's like, fine, you know what, we'll prove this. We'll fucking prove this shit right fucking now. I heard about the whole walking on water thing. Let's go over to my fucking drowning pit, or whatever. They call it the drowning pool. It's this big, like, long waterway. You already know what's about to happen. They're gonna try to make him walk on water, and he's obviously not gonna be able to fucking do it. He's just gonna fucking drown. And it was a really key plot point. Clarence did walk on water early in the movie, but I forgot how he faked it. I think that's when I was doing, like, mini research at the time. And then he says to Verinia, when he tells her about it, that he actually can't swim, which he then also repeats to the Roman guy, to Roman. We'll call him Roman X. He repeats this to Roman X, where he says, I can't walk on water, I can't even swim. Oh my god, while I'm thinking about this, I just remembered the funniest joke of the movie also came from Barabbas. And it was, so he's in the cart after they save him, and he's telling how he believes in God, and he's like, that's why I would never say anything bad, disrespectful, or plain against any of my fellow man. And then this is when Clarence has the euphoric moment to want to become Jesus, and Barabbas' instant response is just, he says the N-word, so I'm not going to say it, but he goes, what? And he's like, it's like peak comedy in the movie, because it's like right before the Messiah started happening, so it's right before everything gets like super serious. It's like the last like really big joke that I can remember, and it's just super funny. But back to the drowning pit. Before he goes on the drowning pit, he's like, if I like can't walk on water, will you let me go free? He's like, well, you'll be free when you die. Clarence looks over to the crowd, and this is where it really started to hit me, like the emotions started to get to me. In the crowd is every single person that has cared for him from the very beginning, watching him as he became a better man. His mom, Verinia, Elijah, the driver. Barabbas isn't there, but Barabbas is on the run right now. So everyone there, including this little dude who I never met, the little gypsy guy named Booker, Tugger, Chugger. I know his name. I had to know his name. His name is Cabbage, by the way. I didn't remember it because it was such a weird name. I knew it was like some sort of food. His name is Cabbage. He's the gypsy in the beginning that actually shot the trank darts at Elijah and Clarence, so they were riding the horses. He then also stole Clarence's cape or like shawl or whatever he was wearing. Like they wore those little like big cape things they wrapped around their heads and shit. It was really cool. I kind of want one now. Yeah, and he said he was robbing him all the time or whatever. Like this is a common thing to happen between Clarence and Cabbage. But even Cabbage is there and he's like looking at it. He's like, no, this is so sad. Clarence looks up in the sky before he takes a step. When he looks in the sky, what other does he see than a giant gleaming sun? Now, if you don't get where this has been going so far, I'm going to explain it after I explain this little bit, because it sort of leads into it. He looks up, he sees the glowing sun, and he takes a step on the water. And what else happens? But he walks on it. He starts walking on the water. He starts taking steps forward. And he goes and he keeps walking. And the Roman emperor's confused. Everyone in the crowd is screaming that he's legit. And then the Roman emperor gets pissed off. He's like, I wouldn't have let you drown, you idiot. But now I have to fucking kill you, because you just proved you were the fucking Messiah. So he tells his guards to jump in after him to go kill him, and they all drown and die. Then they get Clarence out of there, and then they go later to him in a jail cell, because now that he's proven that he is a Messiah, can do miracles, and people are believing in him and rioting against Rome is because of his decisions and his actions, Rome has locked him up. So his brother comes to visit him. At this point, his brother has not gotten anywhere near him, except he was at the drowning thing. Like, he was there the whole time watching it happen, while Clarence was saying that he's not the Messiah. And Thomas goes to his cage and he's begging him for forgiveness. He's like, brother, please, I'm so sorry I left you. I don't know what I was doing. I still don't even know why I did it. Please forgive me. And at this moment, he has come full circle. Clarence has given away his like earthly trauma, or whatever is what you want to call it. He's stopped caring. So he tells him, I love you. Always forgive him. I don't care anymore. He's moved on. He's a better man. He's really taken to just moving on and making the better of everything, and coming to terms with who he is as a person now and decisions that he's made that got him to this moment. And in that moment, he tells him, Thomas yells at him and he says, I saw you walk on water. And Clarence is like, wasn't me. That was God. Now, I will explain to you my theory about the great sunlight that he keeps seeing. In that moment, Clarence says, God helped him walk on water, helped him perform the miracle, just as God had did for Jesus. Because of this, I'm now, when I had my real euphoric moment the first time of when he uses the sun to blind Barabbas in their fight, when he looks up at the sun, it's shining right on him. God was using the sunlight to help him win that fight, knowing what Clarence was going to do later down the line. He knew he had a higher purpose, and he wanted him to fulfill it. God works in mysterious ways. It's a big thing with people in Christianity. You never know if the path you're following has been already laid out for you by him, and that the things you're doing will eventually lead you to where you're destined to be. It's a whole thing with destiny now that I'm starting to realize the movie had it going the entire time. So maybe this isn't why the switch for Clarence going from really selfish to really selfless isn't that quick or out of nowhere. Because if you think about it, God helped him win the fight with Barabbas. And then God also gave him the idea to pretend to be the Messiah. Now that sounds fucked up, doesn't it? But remember what I said. When the light bulb appears over his head, what is directly behind the light bulb? The fucking sun. What do people usually use to, specify God as? Giant glowing light in the sky, the sun. God put him on this path so that way Clarence could later come down this other path, become a better person, to learn faith, to accept that there is a God out there and that he is helping, that he is real, and that he wants to serve him, I guess the word, but serve makes you sound like a slave. He wants his faith. He starts to believe in his faith. He stops trying to get rid of it and push it away, and he starts to indulge with it, and he starts to let it come into him. Sort of like, okay, I'm gonna use Naruto. Sort of like how Naruto accepts Kurama. Oh, accepts. That's what I was. Okay, accepts Kurama and lets Kurama give him his chakra, and then they become Biju mode or Super Saiyan Biju mode. I don't know the actual term for it, but that it's kind of like that. In a weird sort of way. I'm using Naruto to give a reference to God. Okay, fucking sue me. But he tells Tom, he's like, that was God. I believe now. I'm a believer, man. There's no other way to explain what just happened. I walked on fucking water. And from this moment on, this is who Clarence is. He's a follower. He's a man who's going to spread the word. And he's going to die for it too. Because he's about to get crucified. Next scene that comes up, though, is that romantic scene that I was talking about that I kind of want to recreate, especially a little bit of it, because it is kind of cute. Okay, before I start this, I want to point out the whole time you see this next part, imagine I'm in a jail cell, and when I have my hood up like this, I'm playing Verinia.
You're perfect, Brennan. Perfectly who you're supposed to be. The perfect smile. The perfectly shaped eyes. Perfectly yours. Perfectly too late. I am to be crucified. No. Yes. Clarence. Look at me. No. Yes, Brennan. It's okay.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my little acting charade there. I hope it wasn't too cringy or bad. I actually did try my hardest a little bit to get the emotion. I know the cutting's gonna be a little bit weird because I just sat in the same spot the whole time, but as you can see, I couldn't find a better thing that looked like a jail cell besides the fence. So that's it. But yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie too. It's so emotionally impacting, just from everything Clarence said about Vernia the entire film, of how everyone knows that he was in love with her. He kissed her at the party. He just really loves her. He was telling her that she's the sapphire in his eyes, and she said that he's the ruby in hers. And just to have this culmination of all of them, of like the will they, won't they sort of thing that they had going on a little bit, and just all that of Clarence becoming a better person, specifically to become a better person for her, so that way Jebediah, who when I watched the clip, by the way, I have been saying his name right. Jebediah was the guy with the debt thing. Jebediah, to give him the blessing to marry his sister, he became a better person. Everything he did in this movie solely was because Verinia said he was a child who needed to grow up. She couldn't be with someone who didn't know who they were. She couldn't be with someone whose head was up in the clouds, who was constantly just joking around and making bad things happen, and just trying to live life to the fullest by just being goofy instead of actually caring for people. And in this moment, he tells her, "You are perfect. Everything that I've wanted, it is in you. I've wanted it for so long." And then she says, "I'm perfectly yours." But it's too late. Because he's already went through the notions. He's already done all the things. And because of his actions that he did to try to get the girl, it resulted in his death. Now, this isn't Bernia's fault. He doesn't blame her for this. Because it's not her fault. He chose to go and become the Messiah, to follow this route that he's going down. Did he choose it for her? Did he do it for love? Yes. And that's what the scene is trying to show. He did all of that for her. And now, it became more than that. It's more than he's not just doing it for her anymore. He's doing it for everyone. And he's okay with it. He's okay that it's too late. He's not worried anymore about getting with Verinia and moving on and everything like that. It's over. Well, it's not over. But he doesn't worry about that anymore. All he's worried about is making an impact. And I think that's exactly what he does. And now again, back from that depressing shit, back to what we all need to talk about now, and that is the motherfucking ending, brother. Now, there's one little bit that I have to talk about before you can tell that I'm losing energy now, because whatever. But so it was just so depressing. The scene is so sad. I don't think I had explained it really well. I tried to do the whole thing where I got really deep into it, but my words don't really match up with how I want to portray them. I don't use the right ones, so I'm hoping it got through with what I was trying to say. I'm sorry if it didn't, but whatever. This next scene that shows up is another one of those scenes where it's kind of iffy for me, of like if it's in their head or it's not in their head, because the next scene is the Last Supper scene, where Jesus freezes fucking time. Well, everyone starts arguing over who's the traitor when Jesus says, "Though die who puts their bread in Mary's gravy will do it." So he freezes time. And everyone's like frozen, I guess, but then they move, but then they don't. But while this is happening, Judas in real time is talking to the Romans about selling out Jesus. But at the same time, Jesus is talking to Judas about Judas selling him out to the Romans. While Judas is doing it, like they go like hand in hand, back to back. Like the things Judas says in the Roman thing, in the flashback, lead up to what he says in the Roman thing. Like when he's talking to the Romans. Like they both go hand in hand together. They're one in the same scene. But I can't tell if it's in his head or not, because the Last Supper did happen. And I think Jesus did say there was a traitor. You fucking prick. There was a traitor at the Last Supper. But the thing about that is I don't think he named Judas. Whereas in this one, he literally like points out Judas and they like fucking choke him at the end of it. Like the one whose hand goes to his fucking throat after Judas dips in gravy and eats the bread. Like struggles for it too, because like Jesus is like, you know, you want to get your money, you want to do all this, but your goodness is what's stopping you from betraying me. But Judas does eventually betray Jesus, like, you know, like lore wise and whatever. But it's just so weird how it happens, of like the things he says directly lead into the sentences he's saying in real time, getting the silver for Jesus' information and all this bullshit, and it makes no fucking sense and blah blah blah. And then Clarence finds out that Judas is a traitor when Clarence is about to be brought out to be crucified, because the general guy, Roman X, says to him, I won't kill you. I know you're not a real Messiah. I know whatever. I don't know what you pulled with your party trucks back there, how you float on that water, but I know you're not it. We want the real one. You can give us the real one. You give us the real one, you go home free. And Clarence, you know, he's already knows he's dying, so he's going in quippy mode now. He's like, thousand shillets. And the guy just laughs at him. He's like, nah, you fuck. And then he's like, you know, fine, 2,000. And then he's like, you get 30 silver. 30 silver for Jesus Christ. And that's it. That's all you need. It's like, I would not sell that motherfucker out for anything. I'm not giving him up to you. Screw you. Besides, stick together, bruh. And he doesn't sell him out, because now Clarence believes in God. And God is Jesus' father. And he doesn't want Jesus to die. So Clarence takes on the crucifixion, and it's just as graphic as you think it is. He's carrying the cross, he's bloody, he's getting whipped. You know, no one's yelling or throwing anything at him, because the whole community is afraid. They're scared of what they're seeing. They hate it. They don't want this to happen. They're begging them to stop it. And it gets to the part where, you know, he's got the cross, and he's stumbling, he starts falling on the ground. And motherfucking Cabbage, the kid who was bullying him from like age 5 and up, stole his cloak in the beginning, wrecked his fucking carriage and shit. He grabs the cross and he starts to help Clarence lift it across to where he's going to be put to his death. Now, yes, did the same thing happen to Jesus? And are they completely basically just ripping it off for the story and just making Clarence basically Jesus? Yes. But there's not a problem with that when the narrative is telling you that belief is what's important. What's important isn't watching the person do what's happening, but it's the actions they took to get there, you know? And I think that's why most people call it blasphemous, because they're basically making Clarence Jesus. But it's more than that. The story they're telling has a narrative, and I think those people calling it blasphemous are missing that narrative. It's a good story. Everything leads up to this very well. The way they portray it, it's very genuine to the Bible, and it just feels, it doesn't feel any sort of malice was put into this. It doesn't feel like they were making fun of Christianity. It doesn't feel like they were like telling us to stop believing in God. It just feels like they were trying to tell a story they wanted to tell, but they wanted an unorthodox way to tell it, and this was what they decided to do. Cabbage is helping him lift the cross over to the stone pit where all the other people are lined up with the crosses. And it's actually really fucking horrible. So they don't do what they do in Passion of the Christ, where I think they show the entire thing. In the Book of Clarence, it just is a close-up of his face as he lays down the cross, and the guy shows up with the 3 nails and a hammer, and it's a close-up of his face where his like eyes are all red and bloodied and shit, and he's like really scared, he's freaking out. You just see him look over as they put the nail in his hand, and you hear the one little hard boom, and he just screams in agony. And then it goes on the other arm. Boom! Same thing, goes to the fucking leg. Boom! 3 hits. He's fucking on the cross. They stick him up there, and they start to conversate. And he tells people, he's like, the guy was the beggar. I'm gonna get the guy was the beggar. He was up there on the cross next to him as well. The beggar says to him, fuck people, fuck humanity, screw this, I hate all of you. God, if you're listening, burn them to death. Kill these people. I hate these people. Whereas Clarence says, forgive them, for they not know what they do. And then he tells the beggar, I was one of those people who'd walk past you on the street and not give you anything. But look at me. I'm also here. People change. You know, they make decisions. Sometimes they don't always know what they're doing is wrong to them. They need to be shown the way. They need to be shown forgiveness. So as he's on that cross, he forgives them. You know what they do? They fucking stab him with a spear. It's really sad too. Like, I was actually kind of tearing up in this part. It's just because of the symbolism and the emotional status of everything and how much I was paying attention to the movie. Because Elijah comes up to him while he's on the cross. He's just like looking at him. He's like, please, please, like, this doesn't need to happen. What are you doing? And he's just like begging him. And he's like crying. He calls him brother. And then he calls him Clarence, which he has never called him. He called him Clarence the whole movie. He called him Clarence. Clarence is up there. He's like, man, you said my name with 2 syllables. And it was just a heartwarming moment. And it was, like I said, it was very, I'm not crying now because I'm just talking about it and not seeing it isn't emotionally draining to me, but it was very sad for me to see. I was very emotionally attacked. Then, you know, it cuts back to the whole Jesus thing, Last Supper, and then he says Judas is going to betray him to everybody. And then Clarence dies. But in a weird twist, so Clarence gets put in the hole where Jesus is usually put, where, you know, Easter was the other day, where he like rebirths himself from the hole. Well, in this one, Jesus, who's supposed to be dead by this time, walks over to the hole, or I'm assuming this happens before his crucifixion. He walks over to the hole, he breaks the rock, and he touches Clarence's body, who's in the thing. And he fucking revives him. Clarence gets brought back to life. The movie doesn't have a bad ending, but Clarence lives. He's basically Jesus. He fucking lives, dude. Like, he just wakes up and then the movie ends. Which honestly was a really good ending. Like, I get what they were doing for. Like, he did all the stuff he did. He did the stuff. He was a Messiah. He made people believe in him. And he did start working in the Word of God. And then God gave him forgiveness. Clarence died for people's sins, and he brought him back, just like Jesus did. I don't think they're not trying to say that Jesus' sacrifice is annulled and stupid because anyone could have done it. They're just trying to say that anyone could have done it. You know, like, Jesus, you can be Jesus. Not in the way of, like, Jesus is your God's son, but you can do what he did. You can spread the word. You can be happy. If you don't want to spread the word of God, you can still just be a nice fucking person. Like, you can just still be a genuinely good person who helps out other people, even at the cost of their own benefit. You know, that's what Jesus essentially was. He was just a man who was born to die, but in the years before he did that, he made sure to treat everybody with respect, treat everyone with this compassion and this love, and to treat them fairly. And that's what it's trying to portray to you, I think. I think it's trying to portray that anyone can do that. The story would work for anyone. Jesus just happened to be the person we wrote it about. Because he was the guy. Jesus is the man. But, like, you know, it could have been Clarence. I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating. Maybe I'm being blasphemous. If you're a priest, just tell me. I'm a reverend, technically, so maybe everything I say gets a pass. Who fucking knows? Now it's time to talk about my least favorite parts of the film. If you want to, you can just skip this part. This is going to be me ranting for the next, 10 minutes, I think, about bad shit that I hated. There's only 2 really big things I want to talk about right now that I can remember. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I think I'm going to end it. And I've been out here for way too fucking long. It's starting to rain again. I gotta do stuff. The movie itself and the cinematography are whack. I'm not gonna lie. So the pacing is so shoddy. Either things are happening too quickly or things are happening way too fucking long. Like I brought up when Barabbas is running away. It's such a long scene because he's running so slow. If you're an immortal warrior, why the fuck are you jogging at a pace of a fucking jogger on the street that you probably saw walking by me? Like, you know, why are you doing that? What are you fucking stupid? Why did they go to the smoke thing and then they had to smoke to get the idea to become the 13th apostle? You know? Why does the mom listen to her son jerk off? It's just stuff like that. It just doesn't really mix very well. They have I can see a lot of complaints actually ringing true, where they say they have a big story here, but they sometimes just don't know how to tell it. They don't know how to portray what they're trying to go for. Like, they have a good idea, but they either hang on it way too long and over-explain it, or they do it too little and they don't explain it enough. And not with everything, it's just with the little bits and pieces here. And then you have the whole weird shit of, like I said, the whole smoking thing randomly, the whole dancing thing randomly. You have this whole weird fucking camera shot thing where it, like, zooms in right on the face, and then it like zooms out, like you're looking through a fucking keyhole or something. I don't understand that. I know it's trying to add like emphasis and importance, but like stuff like that, like it just doesn't really hit well. And the keyhole thing really pissed me off because it happens 3 fucking times and it never makes any sense. It's like a transition thing. It's not a good one. And now for my final and biggest rant of the, well, not biggest, it's gonna piss me off. The fucking beggar. Benjamin the goddamn beggar. He did not need to be in this movie whatsoever. I think they literally just did it so they could have a white Jesus. Because I didn't mention it at all because I didn't think it fucking mattered. The Jesus in this is black. I'm not offended by that at all. I saw some people were. You're fucking stupid. I don't give a fuck if Jesus was black, Asian, Hispanic, or a fucking green alien from space. He's still fucking Jesus. The race never mattered to me at all. And I don't think it should matter to anyone. It's just a stupid thing to talk about and argue about. Like, no, it was definitely white because they painted it. Shut up. Who cares? No matter what he looked like, he still did everything he fucking did. Sorry, that part just pisses me off. But yeah, so Benedict Cumberbatch, Mr. Dr. fucking Strange, plays this beggar who's doing like blackface the whole time because he's covered in smut or something. And I thought originally the beggar was going to turn out to be Jesus, and he was actually going to be waiting for Clarence to give him like a money thing at the end. Like the whole big thing was he was going to learn at the very end, he was going to give him like a coin, and then it turns out that was Jesus the whole fucking time. He's like, I got you. You see, you've learned to believe in God, and I needed to do anything. You see, and now you're nice and you gave me money. Well, I was half right. So Jesus walks down this corridor. And he sees the beggar when he's walking with, I think it was Mary. I don't know who. Oh, I think it was actually Vienna. How did I just forget her name? I've been saying it the whole time. Vienna? I think it's Vienna, actually, because she's asking what they can do to help Clarence. And so then they start walking, they see the beggar, and Jesus like touches his palm and puts like a silver coin on his palm that just starts sprouting other silver coins out of it. And keep in mind, so you see the beggar in the beginning of the movie twice. Once during the kart race and once right after the kart race. You never see him again, ever, I don't think. He never fucking pops up. If he does, it's so random and it's not even important. He gets his money, he goes to a bathhouse, and he's like, I would like to be cleaned up now, please. And oh no, weird coincidence, he's fucking hot as shit. It's Benedict fucking Cumberbatch. And another weird coincidence, he looks just like the normal representation of white Jesus everyone talks about. The long hair, the beard, the cool white face, the fucking white robe with the red sash over it. So he leaves the bathhouse, and with this coin thing, and he just starts throwing money to people as he looks like Jesus in front of Roman guards who are looking for people with magical abilities called messiahs to kill them. Can you guess what fucking happens and why I said he's talking to the beggar? Yeah, that's right. Benedict Cumberbatch gets fucking crucified before Clarence does. Clarence is the one that got arrested first and had the whole big rigmarole around him. And then Mr. Cumberhatch over here, who's playing Jesus, but the fake Jesus, because Jesus was actually black in this one, and the black Jesus was the real Jesus. He's just the fake Jesus they thought was Jesus, because I think the guy thought it'd be funny to put Jesus in it, and for like a nice little final comedy bit, but it's not comedy. You literally make him become like the lookalike of Jesus just to fucking crucify him next to him. And I know they're not doing it to be like, oh, Jesus crucified, whatever. They had like a bit playing. It was like for a joke, you know. Like, the guy's drawing the picture, and then they talk with Clarence about how Clarence used to be the guy that used to skip past him on the street, and I think it hits the guy at the very end, and he's like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe humans aren't so bad because this guy changed. I don't know exactly what they were going for with that. That part does kind of piss me off because you literally make a guy look just like the normal traditional definition of what Jesus looks like, and then instantly as he gets this power and as people are like, looks like we got another Messiah, and he's like throwing gold coins, he's being nice, he was doing good things right away. You fucking crucify him. You get no development like whatsoever of what's going to happen here. He's just on the cross. You don't see how he got there. You just assume like right after the guards saw him throw the coins, he just got sent to the prison with Clarence, or not sent, he just got crucified like right away. There's like 20 other people up there too. So were they all also messiahs, or were they just people? I think those are just people like people that made bad decisions, like they broke the law. But the whole Benedict Cumberbatch being Jesus thing makes me so fucking angry, because that part Doctor Strange is cursing me. They could cut that entire part from the whole film His entire character can be gone. Nothing changes. Literally nothing. There is not a single scene that gets warped, changed, or the dialogue goes differently if he's not there. Except that very last scene where Clarence and him are talking. However, you can have that be literally anybody. You could have had it be fucking Cabot or anyone that he's pissed off in the past, you know? You could have had it be anyone, dude. But no, you chose to do a lookalike of Jesus at the very end of the movie. Like, what are you fucking doing? That's so stupid. It was such a stupid decision. It's so dumb. It's really the worst part of the film is the beggar. The beggar's the worst part. And maybe there was some symbolism with the beggar of like, you know, you gotta show that you're nice to people because when you're nice to people, they'll be nice back. But it's not at all what fucking happens with him. You see him twice in the fucking beginning. He gets no fucking development other than people telling me supposedly shit. And then he becomes Jesus and hot and gets free money and then dies. So how am I supposed to pick up like a metaphor or anything from that when you literally see him for like the amount of screen time of like 2 minutes? So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to end this on a very bad note. Me being very angry, but that part did piss me off. But yeah, I like this film. It was very good. As you can tell, I probably made a 40-minute video about it where I acted out some of the scenes and did whatever. I was just really feeling the video mood today. These videos are like really therapeutic for me to make. I make a lot of content. I just don't upload it. I have like 4 videos just like saved in my folder that are like need to be edited, but I just haven't fucking done it. I'm hopefully gonna get to this one right away. But I just haven't done it. And it's not because I'm a fucking asshole. It's because I just am lazy. When I start editing, I don't stop editing, which is a problem because I don't sleep and I work overnight, so it kind of fucks with my sleep schedule. And then I don't want to get into editing because I know if once I start doing it, I won't fucking stop doing it. So I had like a bunch of stuff ready to go, like actual things other than me just like talking to a cat or making some weird tool or ranting about some weird thought I had at work or whatever. I have actual stuff like this I want to record and upload. It's just, I just don't do it. I'm just lazy. And I'm sorry for the audio. I know you probably heard cars and wind and whatever. I'm hoping I stopped talking or I talked at least loud enough for that to come over. I meant to put subtitles during the jail scene because you probably couldn't fucking hear shit from that. I hope you could. I did try my best to act it out. But yeah, this movie was great. I think there's a lot of symbolism that people weren't taking from it because they just looked at it, saw black Jesus, saw black person being Jesus, and just called it blasphemous. They never for a second took in the like, oh, just be a better person, learn to change, learn to grow. Jesus still loved him. Jesus saved him at the end of it. God helped him become the Messiah. He put them down that path. It's like, you know, you never, like, people believe in their beliefs in different ways. And I think the guy that made this movie just has different beliefs than people, and I don't think it's blasphemous at all. And I know I keep saying this word, but it just really pissed me off to go and read the things, and just have people call that, and then watch the movie, and have nothing like that even be remotely like close to what actually happened. So yeah, that was my painfully long, shitty movie review of the Book of Clarence, because I wanted to talk about literally everything. Usually I do this in my car, and that's why they're quick, because I wait till I get home and just like run through all of them really quickly. But I kind of wanted to touch on everything, because this movie really meant a lot. It's probably not one of my new favorite movies, probably my favorite new biblical movie, I guess. I haven't really seen a lot of those, but this is probably my favorite one. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you did, thank you for staying around this long. If you are still watching, if you are, comment down below. If you've made it this far, which I'm assuming is like 45 minutes in, I'm probably not even that long. I'm probably just talking my ass and how long it was, because I had to cut a bunch of extra shit down that I wasn't even doing anything with. Let's say 30 minutes. If you're 30 minutes in, if you've seen the Book of Clarence, tell me your favorite scene from the Book of Clarence. And if you haven't seen the Book of Clarence, go fucking watch the Book of Clarence. I don't care if you believe in God or not. It's a beautiful film. It's a very well-made film. He put a lot of effort into it. And Steinfeld is one of the greatest actors that I've seen. He puts so much emotion and effort into his characters that he's playing. And the wind picked up right there, so you're not going to be able to hear what I just said. But I really like this movie, and I highly recommend it. And I think that's it. I'm out. Why did it fall with me?
Okay, so I think I should explain a little bit off the cuff, like at the end of this. Yeah, this was recorded like 5 months ago. I got all this done. I watched this movie, and I've like gone completely over it. It's been sitting in my files forever. I edited this video like 3 fucking times. All 3 times I did it on my phone, and then it, like something wouldn't happen because every time I went back and redid it, something fucked up, so I had to like redo it again, and then I couldn't send it to my phone because I didn't have space, and then I was like, oh fuck, and then every time I rewatched it, I wanted to add more and more and more to it, so it got more and more complex. and I kept changing the editing style and like what I cut and what I didn't cut. And then I eventually was like, okay, cool, I got it done finally. And it just wouldn't go on my phone. Like I could not do anything on my phone. And Formora was being a bitch. I didn't understand how the cloud thing worked. Nothing was fucking happening. So I like gave up for it for like a long time because every time I edited it and it didn't work, I just gave up on it. I was like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. But like I said, I hate wasting content. So I had a bunch of it here, and it's just like an hour long. I was not gonna just waste this. Um, so now I finally edited it on my computer. So if you're seeing this part, that means it worked. That means it's finally uploaded. That means I finally got the chance to fucking put this out in the open. And I really hope you did enjoy it. I really did enjoy this movie. I know I talked a lot of bullshit about it, and my thoughts weren't really there, and they're very sporadic. But that's just normally how I am. That's like my shitty movie reviews. I didn't sit down and write a script for this. I just kind of talked out my ass outside for an hour. It was raining, so I didn't really get like the chance to like really delve into like the scenes and explain them correctly. I just sound like a psychopath kind of going off, and I get that. But the movie was really good. Like I said, I think there's a lot of symbolism. I think there's like a lot of good stuff in it. I think it's just a very fantastic film. I think everyone should watch it. It was just it's really funny. It was very religious. It like never went too blasphemous, as I guess I kept saying it. It was just an all-around good-hearted film, and I really much enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And like I said, if you're seeing this, then you saw the video, so I hope you enjoyed. And not all of them are gonna be like this ever. I think this was just like a special case because I really wanted to do it, and I had a lot to say about this video, and I really just wanted to record something on this day, and this is what happened. So, like I said, thank you for watching. If you did, I know this is coming off after I just said this again, but I just wanted to come back here and just like reiterate that this is why a lot of like the stuff went the way it did, like why it looks the way it does. And I'm also just an idiot. I'm not new to this. I'm new to this whole thing. I'm just doing it how I want to do it. I don't really care about making things coherent or good. I just care about making it like look good for me. 'Cause I'm mainly the one that like goes back and rewatches these sometimes. So if other people enjoy it, that's cool. But if I enjoy it, that's what I'm going for. So it may sound selfish, but it is my YouTube channel, so I don't really care. I'm really tired. I've been editing this for the last like 4 hours, on and off. Um, so I'm gonna stop rambling on again now for the second time, and I might even put this part in. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and bye.